So it looks like the number's starting to slow down here. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. First, just a quick introduction. If you haven't met me before, my name is Rich Hopewell. I am our Director of Customer Success here at Veracross. And I'm really excited today to be leading our webinar around VC automations. We also have with us, who I'll introduce in a bit, Nathan Williams, who's one of our very talented product managers, who is going to run us through the actual product demonstrations today. So thanks to Nathan for joining and helping me out today. And also thanks to all of the other folks behind the scenes who you're not seeing that will be helping facilitate today's webinar. So without further ado, let's jump right in. And first, as I do that, I just wanted to give a grateful thank you to all of you. We've got over, it looks like 250 folks here right now. So taking the time out of your day to join us, we really appreciate that. And we're really excited to share a whole new set of functionality to our Veracross community. And specifically today, we're going to be focusing on admissions email automations and VC automations as a whole. So as we jump into this, I just want to cover a quick housekeeping item or two. This is going to be recorded. You will receive an email with the recording in a few days. Just give us a few days to kind of touch things up, give you the best presentable version that in case you need to share with a colleague or you have to leave for any particular reason and come back to this recording, it's well manicured for you. And then also we do have folks, as I mentioned, in the background right now, besides Nathan and myself, who are available to answer questions in the Q&A. Again, given that we have so many people in this webinar right now, we may not get to all of your questions. We apologize for that. We'll do our best. I imagine as we get to certain topics, questions are going to come flying in hard and fast, so we'll cover what we can. But please throw questions in there. If we don't get to it today, it will give us a great understanding of what you're thinking about when you see these features and functionalities. So let's jump into today's agenda. So first, we're going to talk about what is VC automations or Veracross automations. Then we're going to talk about the subset of that and the crux of today's launch topics, which is the automated admissions emails. We'll do a product preview with Nathan, as I mentioned. We'll talk about what comes next and the timeline of what comes next. So today, primarily, just to say, we're going to walk you mostly through screenshots and a video. That's not because things aren't built. It's just because we feel a little bit better. We have essentially the house built. We have all the drywall up. We've painted everything. But Nathan, I know as an old English teacher, loves analogies the same as I do. We haven't finished all the what I'll call finished carpentry. So everything's built, fully architected. We're just putting some final bows on everything. So you'll see the product live and working, but we wanted to just put it in a bit of a controlled atmosphere, and then we'll follow up a bit later around timelines for live one-to-one demos that you can all join with our team. So what is VC automations and what is the goal of VC automations from Veracross? This is a brand new engine that we've built into the Veracross platform. The goal of VC automations on the whole is to help our schools operate more strategically and scale their impact without the administrative burden that comes with all of these different workflows. So that's the underlying framework. So think about that as an architecture that can be reused across the platform in many different areas, not just admissions. Today, we're going to be talking more specifically about admissions email automations, which is the first section of VC automation functionality that we're going to be rolling out. So when we looked at what we wanted to build on top of this brand new engine that Nathan's built, where did we start? Well, the answer was fairly obvious to us. We have a plethora of enhancement requests, and this was the top of the list for us. And we felt like this provided the most immediate impact to our schools, and also is very important to driving your enrollment, from inquiry all the way to enrollment. So these emails are going to be automated workflows that you'll see allow us to send targeted behavior-based sequences based off of different candidate behavior within the system. So why are we rolling this out? Well, we know that many of our schools, in talking to many of you, admissions teams are managing more inquiries, more touch points, really high family expectations to be nurtured through the application process. And you're doing it with the same size team you've always had. So we need to find additional efficiencies to provide to you that you can scale your team's effectiveness and operational prowess as you try to tackle all of those things. Many of you have used manual outreach because that's what you've had available to you. But during peak season, we know this is when things start to fall through the cracks. And that's not anyone's fault. That's just human nature. We have to prioritize if we're busy. And when the workload gets high, we have to prioritize certain things over others. And unfortunately, that mean that families get inconsistent experiences. Follow-ups are a little bit different. The timing of follow-ups are different. And that's where what we don't want is families who are genuinely interested potentially go quiet because they didn't get the outreach in a timely manner. And so much energy of your teams are going into just the mechanics of the communication that there's far less time left for you all to have the conversations that really matter, which are those personal touch points with the families as you nurture them through your admissions pipeline. So for schools using third parties like HubSpot, which is great and highly functional, there's often an additional layer of friction there. You lose some visibility to where families actually are in the process. There's data inconsistencies, and there's just a bit of a disconnect that happens there. So we're looking to bring all of this in. And also, as you get through this process and think about your family journey, we want you to be able to nurture the best fit students into your schools, not just filling your classroom with just any student. We want the right students at your school. So this is why we thought about the power of our new automation engine, and we thought this is the first area that we wanted to tackle. So let's talk about really quickly why automation or automated admissions emails matter. So I mentioned a moment ago, giving you time to stop focusing on the mundane and the operational and focusing on the personal outreach and touch and nurturing the relationships with those potentially incoming parents or re-enrolling parents and families. Keeping people moving through the process and reaching everybody at the right moment. So when I think about this as not just fostering a repeatable and highly personalized family experience, but then from your own internal team with repeatable processes that we have confidence that are running exactly how we set them up in the background. Now when we go and look at the data of our pipeline, are things stalling in certain areas? Are we losing applicants? Are they not booking different events? That data is highly iterative now, and we can really say that this is a process that we're running. And now let's take a look and see where are we succeeding. Maybe we can take some strategies from one step of the pipeline and bring that to another area to improve our efficiency and effectiveness of these outreaches and automated workflows. So again, all of this is really focused on us giving you more capabilities within the system so that families don't fall through the cracks. You're driving family engagement through the pipeline, helping you fill your classes with the right students and the best fit for your school, and really just using the same team that you have, expanding the capabilities of your admissions office. So without further ado, I am really excited to turn this over to Nathan, our product manager, who's from our platform team. He spent a ton of time behind the scenes talking to schools, interviewing schools, building and testing this first stage of VC automations, which is the automated admissions emails. And please stick around after Nathan goes through these screenshots and demo. I have some really exciting news about how this will fulfill one of our most popular enhancement requests. And we'll also be sharing a poll on, on where you can, on how you can let us know that you'd like to be in touch about this in the future. So Nathan, I will turn this over to you.
Thanks, Rich. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you just fine.
Excellent. All right. So in just a moment, we'll start looking through a couple slides that are images from our product that we've been building out for coming up on a year now. Our team has been building this entirely in-house. So this is a core part of our product. It's going to be something that we're going to iterate on for a long time. So it represents not just this initial release, but a long-term commitment by Veracross to fulfill this you know, addressing this key component of schools, being able to get the time back, as Rich said. So I want you to, as you look through these next couple of slides, take a look at what we're building specifically for admissions and the things that'll help the admissions office. But those of you who are coming to us from the tech office or from other departments in your school, if you kind of pay close attention, you'll see as we get into the second half of our presentation, how we'll be able to use these components to expand out. So let me start with just this next image, showing you. It's really simple, but it's basically just our menu. You'll notice that those of you that are familiar with our product, that this is a part of our database. This is within Axiom. If you're familiar with Veracross Communications, this is actually a communications channel detail screen. You can see down the left-hand side there, there's the tabs that those of you who send communications are used to seeing, and we'll be adding in a section here for email automations. We've actually even updated this since this screenshot was taken. So instead of drip campaigns, we now have email automations as the label there. We're just working on this constantly. So the next time you see images, they'll probably be even yet a little bit cleaner and more refined, but this is a good one. You'll get a high-level view on the types of things we've been testing. We've been looking at group membership, athletic interests, feeder schools, deadlines, checklist reminders, application pieces, a whole bunch of different ways based upon what schools have told us they would use email automations for, to give us a high-level view on what's there. There's a couple of things that you can see right here on the screen. The menu of automations that are specific to this channel. And that's ultimately how we're starting off with the security and the access on email automations. So if you've got existing channel security, this will ultimately model whatever you've already got set up. So whoever you've given permissions to go and do emails, it'll follow the same model for setting up automations. There'll be a couple of labels that will display for what's going on with the automation. Those that are active, you can see actually there's a little green sort of pill-shaped button there that shows us that something is up and running. There are records in there and it's processing. The ones that are on but they're not moving will sit idle. So you can see there's an idle display there for a couple things. Maybe it's an event we have upcoming and we haven't actually sent off that first date yet, or we just opened it for an inquiry form and we just don't have any submissions, or maybe the event is over. We reminded people about our open house and now that open house is passed and the automation's done. It's not running anymore. So it tells us a little bit about what's going on with this. Automations that have been stopped or turned off will show as suspended. So the automation is still there. It's still available in your system. You can see it. You can edit it. You can modify it. You can go and turn it back on if you want. But it'll just sit there sort of suspended as we need to. And then eventually we'll add in like an archive feature of we want to turn this off, but we want to keep it there for reference. And then ultimately there is a button there in the corner to build a new automation from scratch. So what I'll show you in the next image is just one sample of how we might kind of model out building a workflow. This particular one we did just as a test to try to split out candidates based on interests. So they submitted their initial inquiry form, and we collected that they're perhaps interested in some athletics at our school. Now we want to send some communication based upon those interests, but we want each set of interests to have a different set of communications. So this is showing you how we put in a filter towards the top called an interest check. Really, it's running a query in the background, right? It's looking for those values, and then we're sorting people into different pathways. So we chose one pathway for hockey, we chose another pathway for the swim team, and another pathway for our track and field recruits, sending off notifications to coaches, the respective teams there, and then setting up different types of actions based upon what we want. That could either be, wait a certain amount of time after the coach is notified and then send them a newsletter, or it could be a different increment of time for each branch, or we could hold it and use a calendar delay. You can see the track and field branch over there picks a calendar date for when to send out that specific piece of communication. So once we split into branches, then each branch can have its own set of actions. You can apply the own timers, different set of notifications, different email templates, different bit of information that can go out there in order to tailor the experience for each of those different groups. So one thing you'll notice here, if you look at my first branching step, hockey recruits, swim team recruits, track and field recruits. Hockey and track and field are a little bit darker and swim team is a little bit lighter. We're working on a way to show you where where are the candidates? Like, where are people in the automation? So that you can go and look and see, okay, we've highlighted this one a little bit. We'll probably add a little bit more saturation to that as we're going, but we want you to be able to go and find not just the automations here, but who's on the automation, like what exactly is processing as we go. So this is just the sort of view mode that we've got there. But my next image will show me a little bit more. This is in the builder. You'll notice in the upper right-hand corner of my screen, there's a little green button there that says Edit. We can flip over to Edit mode, and now I can start editing the actual automation. You notice the grid has changed a little bit. We've now got this like sort of dot matrix in the background. It's expanded, and I've got some other control switches that are in there. If you look within this automation, towards the bottom, you'll see a green circle with a little plus sign. I'm saying I want to add a step to this spot. When I click Add, I now then get this Step Properties menu. You notice again, we're in Axiom. We're in the database the entire time. I haven't left the details screen of the communication channel. I can still see that, but I'm now working within this builder. So we've got a couple step pieces over here. These basic components, a time delay, that's going to be in hours, days, weeks. So you can pick, I want this to wait 1 hour, 5 hours, 12 hours, whatever that is, days or weeks. So you can set up sort of responsive things to, let's say, inquiry forms, perhaps, right? I want to send off an email as soon as the inquiry form comes in, and then I want to wait 2 days and then send them a follow-up email, right? Or I want to wait a week and check again to see if they've completed any checklist items. So time delay will let you do those. Calendar delay will let you pick, there's a date picker in there, just a calendar, you can go and pick a date and a time. So if you want a step to execute, or if you want an automation to hold at a certain step until that point and then send off the following round. So you can see the automation we built in here. We were sending off an early admission deadline reminder. So we had a group of candidates that applied, we sent them an email, and then we were holding the entire automation to a specific calendar delayed date. And then at that point, we're going to go down and we're going to filter based on grade level. And we're going to have our middle school grade levels will then get one communication. Our upper school grade levels will get a different communication. So we can use things like grade level to then sort the communication after that point. So we hold everybody as a group, and then we make a choice to split and then sort of address and send different emails. So you can see this version is in draft mode. We're editing, we're adding steps to that. The things that we've got on there on the screen, calendar delay, wait for query results, branch for field data. Branch for field data is basically that. Pick the query and then what is the thing you want to sort on. This is where we've added in the most admissions specific functionality. The query options, the choices you'll be able to make when you're branching within an automation are all admission centric right now. They're focused on fields that you can pull into an admissions history query, or to a checklist item query, or to an inquiry form submission query. So the data points on those tables or the connected tables are ultimately what you're going to have access to at the beginning to be able to filter and control. So if it's something that you can find in a query for an admission history record, or something you can find in a query for a checklist item, it will be available as a field for sorting. So there's all kinds of things that can come in there. So that's how ultimately that sorting is being applied, and that's where the admission specific choices are being made. The send email down at the bottom of the screen, that's going to be working from the templates that are available for this communication channel. If you look over at that detail screen side panel on the left, the very last two items there, those are your channel specific templates, and then also the global templates that your school has set up that are accessible on all channels. So it'll be able to go and look at those templates and be able to pick from those and then ultimately send those out to different versions. So whatever you've already got, you can use, or you can add more and use them within the automation builder. But this starts to give you a sense of the kinds of steps, the types of things that we can build in there. All right, we'll move down to our next image. We've started to add in, these are just two samples of things we got in there. We want some help windows to make the user interface more friendly, easier to pick up. When you go to start a new automation, we're going to give you two choices. One is you can just start from scratch, right? Just pick a blank automation. All you have is a start step and then kind of add the things as you go. Or you can see we're getting ready to push out templates. We've got about half a dozen different combinations of things that we're going to use to model some of our most common scenarios. Inquiry form submissions, deadline reminders, checklist item options, interest sorting, a couple of those types of things where we'll have the steps added in for you, and all you'll have to do is go and pick your email template, right? What email do you want to send at that step? Or you might want to change the timing. We don't want to wait 2 days, we want to wait 5 days, or we want to put a calendar date in there for us, for whatever your date is. But the steps will already be there, and you'll be able to just apply them, save your own copies of them, and work from those so that you'll be able to do those pieces. The other little pop-up window we've got here, we wanted to add in a configuration review. This appears as you start adding steps and dynamically adjusts as you work. So if you're adding in a step and you haven't configured it yet, or there's a property that you haven't added, it's going to give you this running list to say that there's a missing value, right? Your send email, you haven't put in who this email is from, or you haven't put in who the reply to address is. You added a calendar delay, but you didn't put in a date. Those types of things so that you can go and save it, right? You can make your automation, you can save it, but you can always come back and see, I have to finish these issues before I can go and enable my automation. So we're trying to make it easy for you to work on this in a draft stage, to be able to share it, to have other people edit it, but always be reminded on a high-level view, there's still work to be done for this to be a successful automation. All right, we'll go down to our next one. Separate from the menu of steps we can pick. The steps then also have their own property window, kind of like in Queer Design, but we're using a sort of a modified version of that. So for example, this is our calendar delay step. You can see there's a date picker over here on the right, fairly standard date picker. There's going to be a target time that you can insert. It'll be a picker. The version you can see here on the screen, this was something we put in for our testing. It was just a text box, but there'll be a picker there. You can as well. You can pick AM or PM in your local time zone. The times will be in whatever your school's local time is. There's also another neat thing here that we'll talk about more when we have some documentation on this. You can see just a peek behind that calendar picker. Late arrival behavior. This is something we've been kind of modeling out. What's the best way to address this? Let's say, for example, we've got an event coming up next week, and we've invited everybody, all of our candidates for our admission cycle for this upcoming event, and we send off our first email today. Well, tomorrow, 5 new people become candidates. They fill out inquiry forms, and we're sending out another reminder next week. Well, what should happen then to those 5 new people once the next week's thing goes? Should they get that first email and the second email, or should they skip that first one and jump immediately to the second step? We wanted that to be a configurable choice where you can decide if somebody meets the criteria for kind of one of our middle steps. Let's say we put in 3 calendar delays, to send in 3 subsequent emails in our campaign. Do we want somebody to get all 3 of those all at once, or do we want them to just jump down to wherever is their current sort of entry step? So giving you these options within the steps in order to work through what those choices could be. All right, we'll jump down to our next image. Another thing that was really important from a lot of the schools we spoke to was the ability to have manual control. While we want an automated workflow to take off that's daily, mundane task, the processing, the running queries. We wanted the automation to take that away. We know that there are exceptions. We wanted you to have the opportunity when an exception arises to go and apply manual control to the automation. So that there's 2 things on the screen here. One is just a display of all of the members within an automation. So I can see who are those people, what step are they on, are they active? I can also move them to another step. So I can just go and look at their current step, change it, move that over to another place. This is a really long list view. It's searchable. You can imagine a state in the future where you've got hundreds, perhaps thousands of records in an automation. We need a quick searchable way to go and find who's there. The other image on the right is a smaller version of that that is step specific. So if I go to a specific step, right, just my hockey recruits, and I want to go and modify one of those in sort of a quick action, we've got a different set of a smaller menu that's got just a simple like play pause button, right? I want to pause them, suspend them, or I want to hit play and reactivate them. There's also kind of like a bulk option here, or if I want to take all of my suspended people that are on this step and I want to activate all of them at the same time, be able to go turn them on all at once. You can see even a little number counter there, how many people there are. Again, as the membership on these automations gets really high, you'll want to have the ability to come and sort of quickly see how many people are here. So we'll give you the high level view on everybody within the membership, right? Everybody in all the steps, and then each step will have its own little menu so you can see who is in exactly what spot. All right. So now I'm going to show you a short video in just a moment, just to prove this is processing. What you're going to see is I'm going to show you one of our automations. You're going to see an inquiry form get submitted with some data that I've pre-filled, so you don't have to watch me fill out an inquiry form. And then you're going to watch some live processing where it recognizes the inquiry form submission, and then we'll see it kind of go down through those steps. So let's take a look at the video. All right, so here we are. This is one of the automations I was building to start. The first thing I've chosen, this is one of our inquiry forms here. I've just chosen this simple form that we made. That's our starting criteria. I'm going to go over and submit that form just with a bunch of test data. Oh, there's my MFA kicking in, right? And I'm going to go back to the automation and I'm going to watch. This is my membership. You notice there's a reloading thing here at the top of the screen. It's just kind of counting down. It's going to refresh, and there's my new automation member who just appeared. It's telling me what step she's on. Now, when I go back over, right now you can see here's my navigational menu. I'm on the next step, the send thank you email. I want to see who's in a spot. If somebody has already processed through that step, it'll say, well, there's just nobody on this step right now. So I've got people on my larger view. Now I go back over to my high-level view of all of my candidates, and I want to move this candidate to a different step. Something has come up. I don't need them to be in a certain spot. I want to move them down another stage. So I can go and look up the other steps that I have. I can say I want to put her down to one campus-specific version, right? She's coming to our Edgewater campus, so I'm going to pick that step and apply there. And then once I hit update, like we do on other screens, it'll take a second to reload. The screen will process and she'll update down to the next step. So when I go back over to my menu, she'll actually even sort of move down through this step and execute. And then I can see that she's actually even automatically moved down to the final step because there was no delay between my campus applicants and my final step. So she actually moved from our inquiry down to our time delay. I manually moved her past 3 steps, and then she automatically filtered down through to the end. So she actually moves through based upon the criteria that we have. So anywhere I put in a wait timer, she pauses. Otherwise, they just move down through without the wait timers there. So that just gives you a view of like how the processing will work, how the manual control applies, and what an automation will look like once it's actually been created and sorted. Okay. And then I think Rich is going to tell us a little bit about what we've got coming next.
Yep, and let me get to this next slide. Awesome. So you'll see a poll launch here in just a second, and essentially this is just something that if you want to get on the list. But while you're looking at the poll there and kind of logging your interest, I want to talk about what comes next. So if you can stick around, I think the next 90 seconds will be really, really informative to everybody. And Nathan, thank you for that wonderful demonstration. Here at Veracross, we're extremely excited, not just about the admissions email automation functionality, but what does this mean for the future? So this is just the first launch of the broad topic of VC automation. So we talked about that engine in the beginning. So you saw a lot of things admissions specific, but I'm sure many brains are working now and saying, well, gosh, that's a really cool workflow. I'd love to apply that somewhere else in the platform. So we are already planning to extend this type of automation across additional Veracross modules. So I think Nathan alluded to it, but think about pledge reminders, think about attendance notifications for parents, think about parent-teacher conference reminders. There are probably endless things that we could talk about at a school that would just speed up our day-to-day work. We can tee some things up, see if they work. If they don't work, modify them, adjust them, improve them, iterate on that over time. And again, just making our schools far more efficient and effective with the staff that you have. So there are 2 boxes here, and I want to just talk about them very quickly because they're extremely important to how we're going to roll this product out to customers. So Nathan mentioned that we are starting and building out some pre-built templates. And this is a key piece of the functionality we want to bring to schools at Veracross. These would be ready to use automations for common school workflows. And I'm really excited to share that all schools, and I'll share this in the next slide, are going to see an application complete workflow. That'll be a common workflow available to all schools to turn on. That is one of our most listed enhancement requests. So as I mentioned in the very beginning, I was excited to share something. Essentially, VC automations and the admissions automated emails is going to allow us to solve that this year for all of our schools in your next enrollment season. And then as we move into the later part of the year, we are going to continue to build out this library of pre-built automations. So that will allow you to see what's in there and turn on what you want to use from our common workflows and turn off the things that you don't want to use. Maybe you have a unique workflow for something. Those pre-built automations are going to come free of cost to our schools. We want you to be able to take advantage of this VC Automations engine, as we see it as an extremely powerful tool that's going to be pervasive throughout the system across many different departments. Then as we take a look to the other options, is there will be a premium add-on with tiers. So you'll be able to talk with our team and say, I want to build my own automations. We realize that many of you have dreamed up some unique workflows that other schools haven't, maybe because that's the uniqueness of your process, or you've just created something that works really well for your school and nurturing the right students into your pipeline. So that is something that you can talk to our team about in the near future as we work through these demonstrations in the coming months. And we're really excited to be able to allow you to not just get immediate value free of cost, but then also build out your own uniqueness in your workflows and be as creative as possible if you'd like to build out your own automations. So just to come back to that poll for a second, if you take a look at that poll, if you wanted to get on the list, just say yes to that. We'll reach out to you when this is all ready. And if you're not interested, that's totally fine. Again, this is just something we want to bring to all of our schools and make available. So what's the timeline? This will be our last topic for today. What's the timeline of rollout for your school, and when can you start to expect these things? So as Nathan mentioned, we're wrapping up and putting all the final touches on little bits of UI, things here and there. I kind of joked about the finished carpentry earlier. So as we're doing that, we'll be able to do some one-on-one demos with schools. So if you're on that list, on that poll, we'll start to reach out to you in May and June, and we'll get you into those one-on-one demos and really talk about how this could be applicable for your school.
Rich, just one small interjection. Sorry to interrupt.
No,
I'm seeing some names in here that I recognize. I've got a group of schools out there that are getting ready to do some piloting for us. So if you're sitting there and you're signed up to do our pilot and you're kind of waiting for that to happen, this was basically the conversation we had, which is once we have our demo available, we'll do our piloting. So if you're sitting here listening to this thinking, I'm ready to do our pilot, when can we get our hands on it? It's coming up. You'll probably get a communication from me by the end of this week. And then we'll actually, while Rich is mentioning this one-on-one demo available, there also then will be schools piloting it. So there'll be that amount of communication and people that you can ask that'll be out there.
Perfect. Thank you, Nathan. Happy to have the interruption. And thank you to those schools that have been working with Nathan on the pilot. It's been invaluable to get all the feedback during the process, and will continue to be valuable as we go through that. So as we look towards general audience release, it'll be available if you want to purchase what I'll kind of coin Pandora's box of build any automation that you want within the capability that we will be rolling out in July and August. You can do that. So if you want to get your demos done, look at it with your team, make some decisions for July and August, what's best for your school. And then as we get into the school year and by the end of September, as I mentioned, that very highly requested application complete email, that's going to be our first major deliverable here with the common workflow for schools in terms of pre-built automation. So everybody will have the ability to turn that on, paid or not. And then we'll continue to build out those common school workflows library. So I'm really excited about this. I know Nathan's really excited. There's a ton of other people behind the scenes whose faces you aren't seeing right now that are extremely excited about this. Many of our customers have been looking to see how we can improve in this area. And this is a huge step forward for Veracross. And I just wanted to, again, thank everybody for joining today. If you have any questions in the meantime, feel free, you can reach out. If you're a prospective customer and you're on here, please feel free to reach out to sales at Veracross. If you're a current customer, you can reach out to your customer success manager. They can talk to you more about this. Or if you don't know your customer success manager's specific email, you can just email customersuccess@veracross.com, and that will route to your CSM. So again, huge thank you to Nathan for walking us through that today. And thank you for all of you taking the time out from your day. And also, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the ladies and gentlemen who are behind the scenes from Veracross that helped put all this together for us. So thank you all. And hopefully most, if not all of your questions were answered if you threw them in the chat during the webinar. So thank you so much. That concludes today, and just about a half hour, so not too bad on time there. So take care and have a wonderful day, everyone.